So when a younger woman tells you, you're too old, here's some brand new, hilarious comebacks that will make that entitled younger girl get down on her hands and knees and beg for your approval. And gentlemen, these are as eye-opening as they are funny. So my last video on exactly what to say to a younger girl when she says, you're too old for me, it went viral. It got over 200,000 views. We broke over 40,000 subscribers. But more importantly, you guys in that video in the comments submitted your own answers and submitted your own comebacks. And some of these were absolutely hilarious. Some of you dudes got a real wicked sense of humor to turn the tables back on that younger girl and get her chasing after you in some very clever ways. And in this video, I'm going to share with you the very best and the funniest and the most clever comebacks I could find after shifting through 1,000 of your comments. And you can use these funny lines I'm about to give you to date younger women, even if you're in your 40s or 50s and the girl's 19, 20, 21, and use these to build attraction and date these younger women reliably and like clockwork. Now, obviously, you don't need to learn all of these, but you still want to watch to the end because some of these are going to absolutely crack you up. And these are great if an entitled younger woman is giving you flack for being older than her. I'm also going to share with you a special tip at the end of this video that I started using over 20 years ago now, and I've been teaching my clients ever since. So you can talk to that younger woman and never hear those words, you're too old for me, ever again in the first place, even when there is a 30-year age gap, like if you're 55 and she's 25. With this one simple tip, you'll never, ever hear the woman say, you're too old for me ever again. This one tip can change your life and make the dating game feel like a literal walk in the park. So you want to stick around for that. Now, one thing you gotta keep in mind, gentlemen, before we get into the hilarious comebacks here, when a younger woman tells me, you're too old for me, it doesn't mean that she's not interested. If she was genuinely not interested in you, she'd just end the conversation with you and move on. She'd tell you, well, it was nice meeting you, bye, and she'd leave. But when a woman tells me, you know, you're too old for me, it means that there is some interest there, and there's two possibilities about what could be going on. The first possibility is that it is a frame check. She's a little bit interested and she's merely checking your frame. Will this guy break and bend instantly when I put up a little bit of resistance to him? Will he get butthurt or defensive or apologetic? Or will he just not give a damn and keep going with me anyway, which is what she wants, by the way. She wants you to not care if it is indeed a frame check. The second possibility is that she has some genuine interest in you, but she has reservations. She has some genuine concerns about you being much older than her, and she's looking to you to provide her a convincing reason that makes her overcome her doubts. So in both cases here, it does mean that the girl likes you at least a little bit, but you need to have a good answer ready in your back pocket to pull out when you need it. You do not want to get caught flat-footed where she tells you, you're too old for me, and you're just standing there with this dumb look on your face like, not knowing what to say back to her. And you do not want to be thrown off where you get butthurt or get emotionally reactive or defensive or try to logically argue with her. That is buying into her frame, and you will lose that battle. So to kick things off, here's my original response in a nutshell that I urged you to give in my first video. And then we're going to get into all the funny and clever responses I got from you guys. So my original response I urged you to give was to agree, to exaggerate, and then evaluate the girl. So step number one here is to simply agree with her. She tells you, you're too old for me, and you can tell her, yeah, no kidding, I'm damn old. That's agreeing with her. It diffuses resistance. Whereas if you say, I'm not old, what are you talking about? I'm not old. Now there's resistance she can use to fight against me. So I'm not giving her any reason to dig her heels in. I'm just agreeing and showing I don't care. Step number two is to exaggerate. Yeah, no kidding, I'm old. I'm actually way older than you think. I only look this good because I got a great plastic surgeon down in Miami. I'm actually thinking about getting a boob job next. And that's exaggerating my older age. And again, showing her I don't care. And finally, step number 3, we turn the tables back on the girl and start evaluating her with an evaluating question. So what about you, girl? I don't know. You might be a little bit too young for me. Can you cook? What would you cook to impress me? And now you flip the script back on her, asking that evaluating question to put her in her place and get her fighting for your approval. So let's get into some of these funny ones that you guys gave me. And this is the first batch. And these are all sexual innuendo responses that build your sexual value with the girl. So of course, she's going to tell you, you're too old for me. And you tell her right back with a sly smile on your face, yeah, but this tongue has 50 years of experience and I can prove it, girl. That's a pretty good one. Now, why does that work? It's because you're not getting defensive, you're not getting butthurt, you're not getting apologetic about being older than her, and you're not buying into her frame. In fact, you are showing her sexual value, that you'll in fact be great in the bedroom, and implying that you can give her multiple oral orgasms. And that gets the girl thinking, wow, that guy sure is confident, and I kind of wonder what he's like in bed. So with this next one, she tells you, you're too old for me. And you reply back with a smile and a wink, well, old enough to know a few tricks that you haven't tried. You know, that gets the sexual innuendo going. And again, it gets her thinking, ooh, the guy is cocky. I need to get myself a sample of that and see what this guy's about. Or she tells you, you're too old for me. And you tell her, well, look, I wouldn't want a tiny, little, delicate thing like you not being able to walk for an entire week. What would your friends and family and teachers say? Again, you're building sexual value here and doing it through sexual innuendo. Or she says, you're too old for me, and you tell her, well, perfect. So you won't feel guilty about calling me daddy. Or she says, you're too old for me, and you tell her, well, are you into boys or do you want a man? And then I'd recommend you give her the tiger eyes. You sexually gaze right into her eyes and hold it. But do you see what you're doing here? In every single case, what we're doing is morphing this frame check, morphing this objection into the communication back to her that you're gonna bang her real good, that you are loads of fun in the bedroom and you are building sexual value. Now, this next one is pretty funny. She tells you, you're too old for me, and you reply back, well, I may be too old for you or not, but am I too rich for you? Now, I kind of like that. Shows that you're unreactive, that you don't care, that you're not buying into her frame. Now, generally, I'm more in favor of responses that convey sexual value to the woman, but this could be particularly intriguing to those women looking for a sugar daddy, looking for a guy to take care of them. And I'm particularly thinking of those single moms out there when I say that. Now, this next one is pretty funny as well. When the question was posed, what do you say to a woman who tells you that you're too old? This guy simply commented, get your passport, brothers. He's saying go overseas where the population of beautiful women is far more plentiful and where your value as a man goes way farther. And to be honest, there's a lot of truth in this. There's a term in economics called a thick market. Like if you're into blondes, you don't go down to Nigeria. Maybe you go to Finland to meet blondes because Finland is a thick market full of blonde women. And that's precisely what I did as well. 25 years ago, I moved down to South Florida, and South Florida has a thick market of attractive women wearing very little clothing in bikinis on the beach. Then I went traveling all over South America to Colombia, Brazil, Costa Rica, Venezuela. I have spent a couple of years down there in South America because these are thick markets for young, attractive women because the population is far younger. Throughout the years, I've also done a great deal of traveling throughout Europe and Eastern Europe and Asia, seeking out thick markets of beautiful women. And in my coaching, I talk to a lot of guys, and a lot of you guys watching this video right now who live in very thin markets, where you live in small cities and small towns that are mostly full of old people, where the only things to do are go to church and eat greasy food at fast food joints and roadside diners. So what you want to be doing instead is start planning your escape to get yourself into a thick market to get yourself to another city, or better yet, another country where you have less competition and where it's far more socially acceptable for a young woman to date an older guy like yourself. And look, if that's something you're interested in, I have 20 years of experience traveling and living abroad. So you can go right here to youngerpartner.com and book a free call with me, and I can give you some advice on that. All right, so let's move on to some of the more clever responses now. You can also misinterpret that her objection or that her frame check is actually an indicator of interest. In other words, you're gonna misinterpret that she is hitting on you. So for example, she tells you, well, you're too old for me, and you tell her, yeah, I could be your dad for sure. So what is it about older men that you like so much? Come on, say it. Tell me. Say daddy for me. Come on, say it. Or if she says to you, you're too old for me, you can tell her, all right, come on. Why are you trying to get to know my age? Are you trying to be my girlfriend or something? I mean, come on, Casanova, just slow down a bit. You need to take me out to dinner first before you're gonna get inside my pants. And even then, we're gonna have to see. So I really like those ones, those misinterpretations, where you misinterpret her frame check, you misinterpret her objection as an indicator of interest. You're misinterpreting it as she's hitting on you. Now I'm gonna give you another type of response you can use when a younger woman says you're too old for me. What you wanna do is reframe with an evaluating question to get that woman to start qualifying herself to you. For example, that woman says you're too old for me, and you tell her, yeah, you are pretty young, girl. Do you know how to kiss good yet? Right, that's the evaluating question. Can you kiss well? And now she's gonna start qualifying herself to you, trying to win over your approval. Of course I can kiss well. I haven't had any complaints so far. And now she's chasing after you. Or you might tell her, for example, okay, so you're scared that you're too immature for me, I see. Well, how immature are you exactly? And that's the evaluating question. How immature are you? And then she'll start qualifying herself to you. She'll say, well, my friends tell me that I'm very mature. And when she qualifies herself to you, then you can give her a little reward. Great. So you're not like those other silly, immature girls your own age then. I kind of like that. That's pretty cool. Well, look, I'm not going to hold your inexperience against you, okay? So for example, she tells you, you're too old for me. And you tell her right back with a cocky, playful smile, hey, looks like we're in the same boat together. You're too old for me too. You see, with that one simple line, you're too old for me too, girl, you took all that validation away from her. You suddenly became a challenge to her. She realizes she does not have you. And now she's gonna wanna start chasing you to get that validation back. Or she tells you you're too old for her, and you tell her with a cocky smile, look, I agree. And what makes you think I was interested in you? And now she's lost all that validation. You just yanked that validation out from underneath her feet. Now, the big key to making this work when you devalidate her is that you must be smiling, right? Even though you're pushing her away with your words, you're still pulling her in with your face. You're pulling her in with your expression. You're pulling her in with that cocky smile. It's that smile that softens the sting of the words, softens the sting of the devalidation. I'll give you another example here. She says, you're too old for me. And you say, doesn't matter. I fucked younger and I've dated hotter girls than you before. Or she tells you, you're too old for me. And you tell her with that cocky, playful smile, yeah, but I look better than you do. You're too old for me. Hey girl, look, age is just a number. Come back when you're legal, okay? Again, when you devalidate the girl, what you're doing is you're yanking that validation out from underneath her feet. And now you get her chasing you because she wants to get that validation back. So this is another one that was shared in the comments. This is a very cocky response. It shows you don't care, shows you're not buying into her frame. She says to you, you're too old for me. And you tell her, well, you know what they say about wine. It only gets better with time. Again, very cocky. You don't care. You're not trying to buy into her frame. You're not trying to apologize. You're not trying to get her approval. Now, yet another type of response you can use is to challenge the girl and give her an image to live up to. So, for example, she says, you're too old for me. And you can tell her, well, if I'm too old for you, doesn't that make you too young for me? But look, I think we can get past that since we're both here talking like two adults. And that's gonna make her stop and evaluate herself because you're giving her a higher, more mature image to live up to, and she's going to want to meet you there. Or you might tell her, you are absolutely right, girl. Come on back when you're tired of the boys and you want to be treated like a woman. All right, since you enjoyed this video so much and you want to go even deeper into this topic about what to say to a woman when she says, you're too old for me, you want to watch this video next. This is the perfect response to get her back every single time. So go watch it right now.